Hi everyone, Monica here. I use YouTube a great deal for learning how to do different things in Photoshop Elements. And I couldn't find this particular item, so I went scouring bulletin boards and forums trying to find a way to do what it is that I wanted to do, which is basically create a default font in Photoshop Elements. And unfortunately, it doesn't allow you to create or select a default font. So whenever I have some of my older files that I open up that don't have a particular font or the font is missing, I have to go in and replace all those fonts for all of the layers. And that's a real pain because I tend to have a lot of layers in my file because I create different graphics using the same images but just different text. So I'm going to show you today how you can change those particular layers into all the same without having to go into each individual layer. So let me show you an example of what I'm talking about. I'm going to create a new blank file, 600, gives me a nice square. I'm going to select this. I'm going to change the font. What I want to do is swash with something large. Okay, here you have this text layer. Shoot. That's set in this kind of Roman looking font that I have here. And so if I wanted to change this particular text, I'd have to select the layer, select the text that I wanted to change, and go in here and type whatever it is that I want to select. In this case Times New Roman Regular. So if I saved this file and I opened it back up and for some reason my font Times New Roman Regular was missing from my system, Photoshop would require me to change or select a font substitution. And it automatically selects a particular font, and you can't change the default font. So when you have a file that has a slew of text layers, then I'm going to close this out just to kind of show you a little bit there. Now I'm going to open up a recent file that I had open, and I'm going to get this message because it says I don't have, some of my text layers don't have, the font is missing on the system. So I really need to get into this file, and so I tell it, yes, this is what I want to do. And what I want to change some of these. I want to make sure that it's just easier to move the layers that I want up top here so that they're layers that you'll be able to see a little bit easier without me turning everything off, which can be, yep, let's go with this one, take it up as well. And okay, so I've got several of these layers that have missing fonts that you'll be able to see because they'll be right there. And like that. Okay, now I want to find one that is actually has the correct, well, what we'll do is I'll just show you how to change that. This will be easier. So right now I've got these 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got these 4 text layers that, as you can see, it looks like they have Times Roman or Times New Roman Unfortunately, they are actually Times Roman, and right there, it looks like it's Times New Roman, but it's not. So I want to do a font substitution. So I'm going to tell it OK. And when I do, it automatically defaults to this ridiculous font, Myriad Pro, which I can't stand, at least for this particular project. So if I want to make sure that, if I want to take this back to Times New Roman, I have to select it, to type in here, Times New Roman Regular, select that font, and click on it and tell it OK. Well, as you can see, I've got all these yellow symbols here. These are all fonts that have to be replaced, and that's going to be a pain in the neck to go through and do each individual one. So I found a really fairly simple way to make a mass change. So, as you can see, this looks like it's the right font, but we know it's not because of the little yellow triangle. So what I want to do is I want to select all text layers. So I'm going to highlight a particular text layer, doesn't matter which one, as long as it's the text layer. Click similar layers, and as you can see, it has gone through and selected every single text layer in the file. Now, some of these show with no little yellow symbol, and that's because they have the appropriate, they don't have a missing font. The font's actually on the system. The ones with the little yellow, the font's not on the system. So I want to be able to change all of these to the same, to replace these missing fonts, which is really easy. Click Layer, Type, and I want to tell it to replace all missing fonts. Hey, pretty simple. All those yellow triangles are all gone. So let's go here to this one. I know that this one wasn't originally a Times New, but look what happened. It's gone to that ridiculous font. Let me select it by itself. It's gone to that ridiculous Myriad Pro, and so I have to type in Times Roman, Regular, tell it to fix it like that. Which means I'm going to have to do that for every single thing anyway. So what was the point in being able to do a mass change of the font? Well, I'm going to show you how to fix this too. We're going to, again, select your text layer, similar layers, and again, it selected just the text layers. And now you're going to go to text, your text tool, and you're going to type in Times New Roman. I'm going to select Regular. And voila, every single one of these has been changed. Let me go. As you can see, this text layer has been changed. All of them are now the font that I want them to be. And suppose for some reason you wanted to change, say this particular text layer you wanted to make, let's just for the heck of it, say you wanted it to be Swash Caps Regular. Not so great looking, but for the purposes of the demonstration, it'll work. So I've changed that font, but say I wanted this particular font to be something not Swash. Let's say I wanted it to be, oh, let's do Trajan Pro. I've got that, great. So what I can do is, if I wanted to change all these text layers to Trajan Pro, real simple. Do a select, similar layers, and if you hold the Control key down, if you don't want to change a particular layer, you just deselect holding the Control key down, and it will save the layers here, and then you just go to your text tool, and you can change it back to Times New Roman, and there you have it. And as you can see, let's just do it. It didn't change that particular one. That one's fine, the old font that I selected. And now I'm back to Times New Roman. Pretty sweet, isn't it? I just learned how to do this, and I am tickled to death that I was able to find a way to at least make it a little bit easier to do all of the font changes all at one time. It's a workaround for the default font, and as you can see with all these text layers, it sure makes my life a little bit easier. So I hope this has been helpful. It's a little bit of a long video, but hopefully you'll see that it's easy to do and that it'll benefit you and that I'm paying it forward. So thanks for listening, and if you have any comments, please leave them down below, and I appreciate you watching. Thanks.